Good morning, North Hills Church. Glad to see you all today. Can we all stand and sing He Knows My Name?
Spend today in a conversation in the mirror, face to face with somebody less than perfect. I wouldn't choose me first if I was looking for a champion. In fact, I'd understand if you picked everyone before me, but that's just not my story.
True to who you are, you saw my heart and made something out of nothing. I don't need my name in lights, I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Make no mistake, He knows my name. I'm not living for applause, I'm already so adored. It's all His stage, He knows my name. He knows my name.
I'm not meant to just stay quiet, I'm meant to be a lion. I'll roar beyond a song with every moment that I've got.
True to who you are, you saw my heart and made something out of nothing. I don't need my name in lights, I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Make no mistake, He knows my name. I'm not living for applause, I'm already so adored. It's all His stage, He knows my name. He knows my name.
He calls me chosen, free, forgiven, wanted, child of the King, His forever, held and treasured. I am loved. I don't need my name in lights, I'm famous in my Father's eyes.
I don't need my name in lights, I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Make no mistake, He knows my name. I'm not living for applause, I'm already so adored. It's all His stage, He knows my name. He knows my name. He knows my name.
I don't need my name in lights, I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Make no mistake, He knows my name. I'm not living for applause, I'm already so adored. It's all His stage, He knows my name.
He knows my name. He knows my name.
Morning, church. Let us pray. Dear Jesus, thank you for letting us be here today to worship you. Thank you for all the blessings you've given us this week, and let these songs remind us who you are and what you've done for us. Let us turn to one another and give each other a warm welcome.
Who am I? Said the Lord of all the earth. Would care to know my name, would care to feel my hurt. Who am I? That the brightest morning star would choose to light away from my heart a wandering heart.
Let's sing. Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading. It's today and gone tomorrow. Waves tossing the ocean, vapor in the wind. Still you hear me when I'm calling, and you catch me when I'm falling. You told me who I am. I am yours. Who am I that the eyes that see my sin would look on me with love and watch me rise again? Who am I that the voice that calms the sea would call out the rain and calm the storm in me? Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I
you make the choices you do? Do you ever wonder why some things come naturally while others don't? Why you're drawn to certain activities and not to others? There's a simple but powerful reason: your talents. When you understand your unique talents and develop them into strengths, your whole world can change. But we often take our most powerful talents for granted, or we may not even be aware of them. That's why Gallup developed the Clifton Strengths Assessment, to help you discover your areas of greatest potential. The Clifton Strengths Assessment is grounded in more than 5 decades of research. It is an invaluable tool designed to help you identify and apply your talents and strengths for greater performance, happiness, and success. After completing the assessment, you'll receive a personalized report with your strengths profile and action ideas designed to help you unlock your innate potential. Performing at your best is easier than you may think. When you approach your work, relationships, and community with your unique talents and strengths in mind, success follows. What are you waiting for? Unlock your potential today with Clifton Strengths and transform your world.
All right. So I'm really excited about the Clifton Strengths Discovery Workshop. Has anybody ever taken a Clifton Strengths assessment? Anybody? Nobody? Wow. Okay, so let me. Typically, this workshop and this assessment process costs quite a bit. Just to take the assessment on their website is $15. And then you'd need a workshop, and then you'd need other things too. Here's what we're trying to offer and what we're really excited about, because we think this can make a difference in each of our lives, in your relationships, in your parenting, in your job, in your, as you look towards a career you might be wanting to pursue, all of those things. The strengths really can make a difference. And so for $10, if you just donate $10, grab a book in the back, or if you want, you can just hop on the website and pay $15 or order the book from Amazon for $18. See, we're giving you a deal. So $10, grab a book. At the back of the book is a little thing you cut open. It gives you a code. You can use that code on the website to take the assessment, print out your results, and bring it January 22 in 2 weeks. And we're gonna have a certified trainer here who happens to be my mother. That's why we get the cool deal. Isn't that cool? So we're gonna have that going on, and I'm pretty excited. I've done quite a bit in the strengths, Clifton Strengths area, and it's always super enlightening as a family. Like, you could do it as a family, all the way down to maybe middle school-ish, right? So it's good all the way down to about that age. After that, you're kind of guessing here and there. But it's going to be really fun. And so I know there's multiple people at home. I hope you're well. But thanks for staying home in case you're not. And so there's a lot of people online right now. And so if you're online, you can come pick up the book. You can actually sign up on our website too if you'd like. And you can... Yep, $10 on the website, and if you've already done that, you can just take your book today. So you can do it that way as well. If you were a guest here, I just want to say welcome. My name's Tim. I am the lead pastor here at North Hills, and I'm just really excited you're here. There's a connection card on the seat in front of you. We'd love to know that you're with us today. If you're online, there's also a form you can fill out. Just let us know you were watching. You can find that on our website. We'd just love to know that you were here with us. We'd love to say hi and to have that opportunity. Speaking of workshops, there's also another workshop starting up that is starting on the 29th, and that's the New Path Parenting Workshop. So if you are a parent or you know some parents that would like to go through some really effective, really positive, faith-based parenting, then this is the workshop for you. It's 12 weeks. It's on Wednesday nights, and registration opens next week on Wednesday, right? No, the 19th. Yeah, registration opens on the 19th. So anyway, if you have questions about that, you can talk to myself or Sharon. Sharon, would you wave your hand? Just hi right there in the middle. So you can talk to her, and that's going to be a lot of fun too. That's an amazing course. So make sure you consider that, or maybe you know a neighbor, a friend that you've been talking to that they're like, hey, with the new year, what I'd love to do is just become the best parent I can be for my kids. Like, that's my New Year's resolution. Then that would be a great workshop for you. So one quick last thing I want to talk about before we get going is I want to talk a little bit about Holbrook. And so Demi Hechanova is here, and he actually went out a few weeks ago and visited Holbrook, and he brought back some pictures and whatnot. And he's going to talk a little bit and kind of give us a tour with him that he took. And I know this is one of our ministry partners that we get to help. What mic did you just grab, Demi? 14. Mic number 14. So he's going to walk us through. We have some photos we're going to show you, and it's an amazing place. They're amazing people, and I got to tell you. Well, I'm going to tell you at the end. I've got a surprise for you at the end. So something that we've done. Check. So got it. I think you're on.
Check. Okay.
Yep, you're on. There you go. So Demi, you guys just recently visited. What was your first, or just some impressions that you had as you went and you visited? What moved you? What surprised you? What did you find when you visited Holbrook?
We went there for a family reunion before the week before of Thanksgiving, and so my younger brother, so we picked Arizona because I had a sister coming from Florida and brother in Texas, so we were kind of like centralized. So my brother was a student missionary when he was in academy, and he spent the whole summer helping build the cafeteria. He'd never been there since.
Wow.
So that was, and then we heard that you were doing.
How many years ago was that he helped build the cafeteria? Can I ask?
I'm thinking maybe 40 years ago.
40. Wow. Okay. All right. That's awesome. Just nothing's changed. No.
Yeah, there are a few more buildings.
Yeah.
It was one thing that was quite impressive. Diane, the one was. We went there on vacation, so the campus was empty.
Okay.
So nobody was there except for her. There are some faculty members that live on campus. They have the housing there for them, and so she was gracious enough to give us a tour.
Awesome. And we have some pictures, right? You want to just kind of slowly step through these here, Nick, and we'll.
This is Denise. You can go real quick because it was just a campus picture. She was the one that. This is the administration building and also the library, and they have some classrooms here.
You can just keep cruising through them, Nick.
So this is the graduating class of this year, 2020. Last year, there were 4 who graduated there for 2020. And then I have the first picture of the first graduating class 75 years ago. Next. Oh, boy. Next. We'll find it later on, okay? But this is one of the typical classrooms. There you go. Back one. That's the first graduating class. Raymond Joe.
First graduating class was a graduate. I love it. That's amazing.
Yes. Next. Okay, this is their library, and as you know, somebody had recently donated them a 10,000 book library, and so they're cataloging it and everything. Next. This is the administration building. that we first met with her. And they have the office here, the school office. That is one of the classrooms. Next. That's the gym. Next. This is the church.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a church, yes. And this is the cafeteria that my brother had.
That your brother built.
Yeah.
Hey, check that out.
Yes.
He did well. It's still standing.
I know. This is the high school building where they have science classes and everything.
Cool.
And there's a playground that has been there for many, many years, and they're trying to, hopefully they'll get funds to rebuild it next.
I don't think they let you make slides like that anymore.
There's the inside of the science building. Next. They have a room where they don't have any chairs. So these are the balloons, the balls are their chairs. So she was telling us how exciting it is. Keeps the kids awake.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, another classroom. That is the the boys' dormitory. And this is the women's dormitory.
All right.
And they have horses there. That's a barn.
So many mountains.
Yeah, Arizona. Yes. So they have craft. They teach weaving. They teach Navajo language.
Oh,
and
wow.
she told us some pretty interesting story about the Navajo Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one thing that was so impressive was that many of these kids that are there, they all they come from homes that are really dysfunctional. No father, no mother. The parents have to work, so really they drop the kids off because otherwise they'll starve. They're just really needy families. And there are 8 teachers. They're short 2. The students, many times when they prefer to stay during holidays and all that, they prefer to stay, but they close the school, and also with the COVID, they had to close, and so the kids really, this is where they used to have foster-like homes for dorms,
Yeah.
but they were short on help on that, so they decided to use a dorm system, but the kids are really in a place where they need to be because they're abused in many ways, emotionally and all that, and so they have dysfunctional homes. And the nice thing about this is that eventually there are some students that get better and they go to PUC. They come back as teachers.
Wow.
That's quite impressive.
That's amazing. Well, thank you. Thank
Okay,
you very
you're
much, Demi. Thank you for sharing. So I told you I had a surprise. We actually ended up, so I talked with Diana Fish, the director out at Holbrook earlier this week, and pray for her. She's got COVID right now, so she's huddled up, as some of our members are, watching things online. And she like I was gonna let her know, hey, we've been raising money for this winter rec day that we've been raising money to send them on a winter recreational day, right? And she's like, oh, you have no idea. She said, we were just talking about it, and we said we were gonna try and make it happen, but we're gonna have to take it out of one of our essential funds just to pay for it. And we're trying to figure out how in the world to pay for some of the essential funds. Like we're just trying to figure out how to make it work. And I said, well, not only did we raise $4,000 to send you guys, we actually raised $5,000. So they are overjoyed that their 65 students are actually going to be able to experience this this winter and to be able to go and have a good time up in the snow and experience things that literally otherwise, as you heard from Demi, there's no way they would have these kinds of experiences. Their families they don't have the means. They're barely making it. They'd starve if they were home, a lot of these students. They'd starve. So thank you. That's really awesome. Thank you very much. If you are looking, by the way, to give or to pitch into one of our various partners, or if you want to give towards the church budget, you can do so. I tend to forget to mention this, but we have offering containers. They're black, and they're right next to the doors on your way out. So that's where you can donate to those kinds of things. And let me tell you, you make a difference. I'm going to say that again. You make a difference. because it's just so amazing. So thank you for what we've been able to do. I'm excited. At the beginning of February, we're going to have kind of our annual business meeting. We're going to talk about like all that we've done this past year and kind of set some goals for the coming year. Hopefully, Omicron has moved along on its way and gotten out of here by that point. So that would be great. But anyway, I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to keep going with this series. Are you ready? All right, let's dive in. So it is the time for New Year's resolutions, and you are 1 week in. How many of you have already broken one of your resolutions? No, you just don't do them. All right, fair enough, fair enough. We either have no resolutions in the room or very strong individuals. Congratulations either way. I suppose, like as I think about it, I suppose Jesus never had to make a New Year's resolution. He's like, no, I think I'll just do what I did last year. Did pretty good, right? I don't know that Jesus, like year after year for 33 years, like made New Year's resolutions. But we are talking about a key question that kind of launched this series for us. And if you'd like to catch up, you can catch up if you weren't with us last week. I know there's a lot going on, but if you weren't with us last week, you can catch up on YouTube and Facebook. But because this is kind of a time of self-improvement, often this is a time that we ask this question: what should I do about me? What is it that do I need to lose weight? Do I need to get my debt paid off? Do I need to learn a new language or a new skill? What can I do? What should I do about moi? Right? We ask that question. It tends to be that self-improvement time of year. And so what we said is those things aren't bad. Those are great things. You might need to lose weight. It's great to get out of debt. I don't know where you're at, and those are good things to pursue, but maybe there's a bigger and a broader question that we can ask. Maybe there's something more that can be asked. And so we said, what if we asked, what should be done around me? What should be done around me? We've all had our lives impacted by people that ask this question. History is formed by people that ask this question. People throughout your life, your teachers ask this question, and it may have led them to become teachers in your life. Right? There are important people who impacted your life and my life that ask this question. And we're going to kind of keep this, but we're going to push this question a little further, because what should I do around me brings up a question like, well, there's a lot of things. How do I know which one to do? There's a lot of things that should be done. And so maybe after last week, you just kind of felt this tension, like, I don't know, Tim. Like, there's a lot. Like, needs are everywhere, aren't they? And so we're going to kind of, we started last week, we talked about the story of Nehemiah who had this burden on his heart, and he did some amazing things. He took action. And we said that Nehemiah really asked this question, what breaks your heart? And so we're asking this question throughout the whole series, what is it that breaks your heart? What is it that breaks my heart? and trying to hone down to what is that one thing. What is that thing? Even as a church, we've said, well, there are a lot of needs around us. What are the few that a church of our size could actually tackle? So we said, well, we could have a couple community partners here locally. And so we've partnered with Foothill Family Housing to provide meals and Thanksgiving baskets and things of that nature. And we said, well, we could probably do one more. And so we said, all right, let's partner with Hope Through Housing, and we can provide school supplies at various times a year and different needs for their seniors and things of that nature. We said, well, that's local. There are needs bigger and broader. And so what if we had a national partner? So we said, well, here's a national partner. Let's partner with Holbrook Indian School, as you heard with Demi. And let's see what we can do there. And then we said, well, it would really be great to have an international, something that goes beyond America. And so we looked around, looked at a bunch, and the board took some interviews and talked with some organizations, and we settled on Kutavana out in Zimbabwe. We said this children's home for these kids that don't have parents, they don't have families, don't have any place to go, let's support that. But even that, that's wow, we've got 4 partners. That's a lot. I could say, hey, you should support, 4 is a lot, isn't it? And so we kind of keep 4 so that you have, I don't know what it is that breaks your heart, but maybe one of these things works in your heart. Maybe it's none of those 4 things. Maybe there's something else in our community. Maybe there are tons of organizations. These are just the ones that we picked to highlight, that we chose. Maybe what breaks your heart is really emotional for you. Maybe there's something that you know a lot more about than other people. There's a problem in the world, there's something that you know a lot more about than other people because it's something that it's just worked in your heart for a long time. I wanted to reach out a little bit. And so I tried calling one of the board members at Kutavana and say, hey, what is it that broke your heart? What is it that got you involved at Kutavana? And I thought I'd just kind of ask them this question and see what happened. I've known some of the board members for quite some time, and they're friends of mine. And so I made the phone call, and I couldn't complete the call because they were in Zimbabwe. So we sent them a message, and I expected to just get something written, and instead they actually sent a video back. So this is straight from Zimbabwe, sent yesterday. And I edited it down a little bit, but what's amazing, you're going to see 2 couples. The first is Steve and Jody Voluschek, and you're going to hear how when Jody first went out to Zimbabwe, what her experience was. She's going to talk about her son, or her sons. She has 2. And then you're going to hear and you're going to hear John and Colleen Ortelhide talk about what broke their heart and why they're there. So check this out. Check this video out.
When we first came to the children's home, I was actually really excited, and this is something that God had put on my heart, and we were embraced by all these loving, happy children. But as time went on, God showed me what it was that He brought me here for, and He showed me that these children need deeper connections with a loving, caring caregiver. And for example, who is my oldest son, Anasu, was laying in his crib, and the mamas were so busy taking care of the other babies that they had to prop up his bottle, and he had to be fed by himself, and that prompted me to go and take him and feed him and carry him around and play with him and love him, because the mamas were so busy. And I saw that need for him, and I see that need for all of our children here. we see that need now, and that's really what has broken my heart in all of this, and that is why we are praying for more of our children to be in families. Kudavana is a beautiful place for our children to be right now, as we continue to watch God place these children into smaller unit families.
You might ask yourselves how a couple like us got involved in what we do now here in Zimbabwe. And I think back, and it probably wasn't one thing that prompted us to do what we're doing. It just seemed like everything worked together toward the same goal that we have in our minds right now. We read a lot. We were impressed by that. We were impressed by other people. We knew people who knew other people who knew other people that we were able to talk to, and that touched our hearts. And also, we were in a part of our life where we were thinking, is this all there is? Is this all there is to beat your head against the wall and try to achieve the American dream, whatever that is? And we had much more in mind than what we were receiving right then. So all those things worked together, and I'm sure God was impressing upon our minds different things, and they all came together, and it was not cut and dried. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. But God led from that point on to where we are today.
I think my first trip to Zimbabwe and visiting the children, what broke my heart, what I became passionate about, I saw a group of children who had so much potential, but they didn't have families. They weren't being cared for like most of our families are, like my children were cared for, like I was cared for as a child. And I went back home and I couldn't get it off my mind. So that's how it broke my heart, and I think John's as well.
Yes, I'm the world's biggest crybaby, and I guess I'm very sensitive. I don't consider myself that way, I guess, but I am. And we were impressed greatly by the amount of children in this country that did not have a mother and a father, and it broke our hearts, I guess, is what you would say.
I often wonder, all the kids that will be lined up at the end of their life to thank them. Or in heaven, all the people that are just going to say, hey, thanks for doing what you did. At the end of your life, what is it that you want people to line up and thank you for? What is it that you want people to say, hey, you made a difference for me because of this? Outside, it might not have to do with your career, outside of your family and the way that they hopefully appreciate you. It's an important question, but there's a problem with this question. And you might have felt it as you listened to the four of them talk. The problem with this question is that it will cost you something. It will cost you something. In fact, whatever it might cost you might even be the thing that's preventing you from taking action on what breaks your heart. Even the smallest involvement requires something of you. Let me kind of paint a little bit of a picture because Jody didn't really talk about it too much, but Jody, when she was there and she saw Anasu with his bottle just propped up because they didn't have the time to hold him and feed him, and so that's just how they would feed the babies. She felt impressed that God told her, hey, I know this all breaks your heart, but this is the one, like this child breaks your heart because he's yours. And the problem with that is Zimbabwe doesn't allow for international adoption. And so she had some real serious conversations with Steve, and I don't know what those were like. But she said, I'm going to go live with our son in Zimbabwe. And Steve runs multiple businesses in the States and tries to, and so because Zimbabwe doesn't, like, she changed her address because of what broke her heart. And her parents did get involved. There was a lady named Paula Lean, and she was a church secretary, and she had her heart broken, and so she started Muwera Children's Home in Zimbabwe. And by the time John and Colleen came and Jody came, and there was little Anasu in the crib, by that point, Paula, when she had started, she was already retired. She was a retired church secretary. And her health was failing, and there was nobody else. And she said, can you help? Is there anything you can do? And they prayed, and so John and Colleen got involved, and eventually they moved the children's home and renamed it to Kudavana Partnership. And it's an incredible story, and I'm not going to just dwell on it, but it costs them a lot. Time, finances, John and Colleen go back and forth. Steve goes back and forth. I can tell you, she says Jody says in a part of the video, September 20 of 2021, September 20, 9.5 years after she first saw Anasu in the crib, she was finally given full adoption of her son. 9.5 years. It will cost you something. And the problem with that is when we feel like it might cost us some of our life, we're naturally, I am too, I'm this way. We're naturally life preservers, aren't we? We want to preserve life. We want to enhance our life. We want to keep our life going. We want our life preserved and kept and cherished and carried along. We don't want to give it away. We want to preserve it. And when we start feeling like we're losing a part of our life that we value, we might even start to panic a little bit. Because if we decide to get involved, it's going to feel like you're giving up a part of your life. If you decide to get involved in what it is that breaks your heart, it's going to be giving up a part of your life. That's what it's going to do to you and in some ways for you. And so as you wrestle with this tension, what breaks your heart and what would it cost you to get involved? As you wrestle with it inside, Jesus comes along because he's really good at coming along in those moments, isn't he? He's really good at showing up in those moments. And Luke talks about this moment where Jesus, he's being followed by a crowd. He says, large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, but I want to pause here before we get to what he says, because crowds tended to follow Jesus a lot, didn't they? Like, think about it. Like, thousands of people would just follow him around. I think it's one of the reasons he chose to preach by the lake so often, because they didn't swim so well. So he could at least hop on a boat and get away at times. And this isn't just a crowd of people that showered every day and were really healthy. If it was today, all of these people had COVID-19. All of them. They're all hacking, wheezing. They haven't showered for days. They're dirty. They're probably really poor in the Roman Empire. Their clothes are ragged. And what do they want to do?
What do they want to do with Jesus? They want to touch him. Yeah, no 6 feet of distance going on. Like, you have a friend maybe, or a friend or two. Have you ever met somebody that like their personal space is a little closer than what your preferred personal space is? Right? That's this crowd. A whole crowd of them. It's like if we got out today and I go out to a restaurant and you all decide to just come with me. And then I finish eating and I go home and you're like, oh yeah, Tim's house, let's go. Right? Except I can't do anything for you like Jesus. And so they wanted just to touch him, just to talk with him, just to have a moment, because they knew what could happen in their life. In some ways, it almost reminds me of like a zombie movie, to be honest. Like just a bunch of people like, oh, right? Right? And so Jesus turns to all these people, turns to them. And here's what he says. If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. There's a punch in the gut. What? Whoa, what did Jesus just say? What did he just say to all of us? And here's the thing, because we get thrown off by this. Here, Jesus is not talking here about hate as an emotion. He's not saying you need to really dislike, distrust, and emotionally hate your family and yourself. What he's saying is that you need to decide who determines the decisions that you're going to make in your life. Are your father and mother making the decisions in your life? Are you making your decisions based on your wife or your children or your brothers or your sisters? Yes, are you even making your decisions based on your own judgment and your own life? And of course, this made sense because to be a disciple of someone was to try and become as much like that person as you possibly could. To be as much like the rabbi or the person that you were following, not just to know what they knew, but to be like them in every possible way. To make decisions like they made decisions. To understand things the way they did. To emotionally feel the way they felt. To live the way that person was. That's what it meant to be a disciple. He says, until you decide who the ultimate authority is in your life, you can't be my disciple. You can follow me around and I'll continue to teach and continue to bless you, but you can't be a disciple until you decide who the ultimate authority is. And you see, the essence of following Jesus is self-denial, not self-improvement. He's saying here, you got to hate even yourself. Like yourself, it can't be yourself that is the ultimate authority in your life. I will improve you. You don't improve you. You have to trust and follow me. And this is hard. You could actually probably argue that our entire economy, in one way or another, is built on self-improvement. Isn't it? It's difficult to make decisions. And you see, somebody else can't be making the decisions if Jesus is the one you're following. Then he drives the point home. He goes next level with this crowd. And he says this. He says, and whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Whoever whoever does not carry. Now, when he talks about a cross, like we're like, oh yeah, those are really pretty. They put them up on top of churches and people hang them around their necks. No. When Jesus talked about this, they knew. They might have had a friend who died on a Roman cross, in a Roman crucifixion. They knew what crucifixion was all about. They knew the torture and the blood and the dirt and the grime and the wails and the moans. They knew the smells involved. And he says, unless you take up your cross and make yourself that vulnerable and put your life at my feet, you can't follow me. Basically, he's saying you cannot be a disciple until you die to yourself and say yes to Jesus. That's hard. Right? Like, at this point, those that are kind of in it for themselves in the crowd, they're like, yeah, I'll catch you later. I got another thing to be at. I got something else on the schedule. On another occasion, Jesus actually says something similar. He says this. He called the crowd to him, another crowd, along with his disciples, and said this. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. Sounds familiar, right? Different moment, same message. And he continues, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel, for the good news, will save it. Whoever wakes up in the morning and the first thoughts on their mind is, how am I going to make my life better today? Whoever wakes up in the morning and they're like, okay, my job really needs to work for me. My spouse, what are they going to do for me? My kids, I hope they'll do something for me. Let's see, I hope my preferences are made. When they wake up, it says, if you wake up and you want to save your life, you want to make it all about you, if you wake up and your life is all about you, then at the end of your days, all you're going to have is you. And you're going to lose it. He's not talking about martyrdom here. He's not saying, if you're willing to die for me, because honestly, it's a lot harder to live for Jesus at times than it is to die for him. He's not saying if you're martyred for me. He's saying if you're ready to give up yourself for me. If you're ready to deny yourself so that you can say yes to something that's bigger than you. Because as long as I'm all about me, I can't be about anything else. If I'm all about me, then my life isn't dedicated, isn't about something bigger than me. And as you wrestle with what it is that breaks your heart, as you wrestle with, man, this breaks my heart, or that breaks my heart, or what is it that I'm going to get involved with, as you wrestle with that idea, it will inevitably lead you away from you. It's going to lead you away from a spot where you're about you. It's going to lead you towards other people. And life will become more about the things that you're denying of yourself so you can give to others than it will be about improving the things for yourself. Are you with me? In fact, I love Andy Stanley takes this and he summarizes it this way, and I think it's really creative. He says, whoever devotes themselves to themselves will have nothing but themselves to show for themselves. Says, is this the life you want to live? If you save your life, you're going to lose it. But if you're willing to give your life away for my sake, for the sake of the good news, you'll save it. You don't want, at the end of your life, for it to be a total loss. And I know you don't want that. You don't want to get to the end of your life and it's all buttoned up nicely and it's like, well, they lived, everything was taken care of, they died. Congratulations. And I know this because I think there's a part of us that wants significance, a part of us that knows that you were not enough for you to live for. I am not enough for me to live for. There's more to you. There's more potential to you. There's more to you than just how you end up. And so this is an invitation to significance, to be unique, to find at the end of your life that somebody says, thank you, you changed my life. It's a life of purpose. But sometimes we prefer preservation over purpose, don't we? And maybe you're thinking, I don't know if I need purpose. Really what I need, Tim, is a different job. I need a better job. Or you know what I really need? I need a relationship. I need somebody to think I'm awesome. Actually, really what I need a different financial situation. It would really solve and then I'm going to be ready for whatever it is, I could chip in here or there. But at some point, I can tell you this, at some point, if you get that job, if you get that relationship, if you get that financial situation, if it all gets worked out for you, you're going to come to some point, and it might be on your deathbed, and I pray it's not. But you're going to get to some point, and you're going to wonder, did it all matter? Did it all make a difference? And if it was just about you, nope, it didn't. And so it might feel backwards, it might feel upside down, it might feel inside out, but Jesus says if you want to save your life, if you want to find real life, if you want to find what it is that Jesus calls abundant life, then give yourself away. If you're all about filling yourself up, you're going to find that you're always empty. There's always more. You always need more, and it's never satisfied, and you're always empty, even though you're trying to fill yourself up, If your spiritual experience even is just about filling yourself up, you will always be empty. But he says the moment you decide that your life is about emptying yourself, giving yourself away, dedicating it to the people around you, to the needs around you, the moment you make that decision, you'll find yourself full to the brim. You'll find that you have more to give, and you might not even know where it's coming from, but you somehow still have more to give. It's amazing, and it's so counterintuitive, and it so feels backwards, and it feels scary to not be a life preserver. It feels scary to open ourselves up, to make ourselves vulnerable. It feels scary to take up a cross and follow Jesus. But the difference that can be made will fill you up. I want to go back to Kudavana because they reflected a little bit about the cost, what it cost them. And I don't want you to take my word for it. Hear from Zimbabwe.
One of the things that maybe was the heaviest on my mind about giving up or getting away from the life that we had, I don't feel like we gave up anything. I think we gained so much more than we gave up, whatever. But it was maybe the resentment that I felt was coming from our children, that we were not spending enough time with our own grandchildren. And whether that was true or not, that's kind of the way I felt. But now, I think that's changed. I think they have the same passions in their hearts that we have for children around the world. In fact, I know they do because they've adopted children from this part of the world. So giving up, it's a nice thing to say, but really we've gained so much more. We used to have 4 grandchildren. Now how many do we have? We have 70 grandchildren. And so God has increased that part of our life so much, and so many more friends here. And so giving up, it might seem like that at the beginning, but not later on.
And it's really not about doing something big and great. It's just about doing whatever it is that God puts on your heart to do. And trust me, you don't want to say no to that, because it will just keep bothering you until that point where you surrender to Him. But I believe that we've gotten more joy from coming here and being a part of something bigger than ourselves. And I believe that one of the things that I learned from the very beginning and onward was it's not about me. It's not about what I want. God has plans for us and for these children, things that we can't even imagine, and He has ways to work that we cannot even imagine. So I've learned to trust Him more by actually giving of myself. Just do what God puts on your heart.
We're asked at times, what did it cost you, or what was the cost? I struggle with the term cost. I'm a businessman by trade, and at work, a word we can usually, perhaps often, interchange with cost is investment. And the word that's used speaks to perspective. Are you focused on what you're going to have to give up, or are you focused on what you're ultimately going to have to gain, or what you'll ultimately gain? We have been richly blessed. Our lives are very rich in meaning. We've been blessed in numerous ways, and blessed in every aspect of our lives. At some point, when you gain so much, what you had to give up is irrelevant.
Do you hear it? Do you hear it? Purpose is always just outside of our comfort zone, because our comfort zone is what preserves us. Just outside of our comfort zone is this space where we live for the sake of someone else, for the sake of others. And the best thing that you can do this year for you actually has nothing to do with you. The best resolution that you could make this year is actually to become a solution for someone else. Take a risk. What looks like a loss, what looks like a cost, at some point will feel irrelevant, as Steve says. So let me come back to our first question. What breaks your heart? You don't need to go out and invent something necessarily. You don't need to create a 501c3. You don't need to shake the world. It might just be that there's already somebody working in an area that breaks your heart. And all you have to do is pick up a phone, hop on the internet, find a way that you can help, that you can get involved. There's somebody that you just need to talk to. Maybe you're not quite sure how to help, and what you need to do is come to the Strengths workshop, and you can find out more about how you're gifted, how you're wired, so you can know how you can maximize the ways that you can help others. You see, because when you decide to carry someone else's burden, you enter into the activity of God who carried your burden and mine. Because God saw our burden, he saw our sin, and it broke his heart. And so he came down and entered the muck and the mess, and he gave up, and it cost him his life, so that he could gain you and I back to him. So here's my talk and my walk for you. I want you to continue to wrestle with what it is that breaks your heart. Talk about it. Wrestle with it. Jump in a small group. A small group, like we have small group material, you can download it from our website. Maybe you just need to download our small group material and talk about it at the dinner table with your family. That's okay. You can do that. Join a small group. Get some ideas flowing. What is it that breaks your heart? And what might it cost you to get involved? And then write down some people or organizations, that are making a difference in some of the areas that break your heart. You don't have to do anything yet. Just write. Just like last week. I'm not trying to push you off a ledge yet. I did say yet. We will get to the end of this series, and I'm going to all right, let's go. We've talked about it enough. But we're not there yet. What is it that you can do? What is it that we can do? This is what it means to be a church, is to come together and say we can do more together than we can individually. Because there's something that breaks your heart that God is calling you to make a difference in. So let me pray for you. God, thank you for paying the cost of our sin. Thank you for loving us so much that it broke your heart to see us where we were. God, I pray that you would stir us, that you would make us more aware of the areas that you're calling us to, of the areas that you've given us talents to help, of the areas that break our heart, because we know they all break yours as well. May we partner with you, God, and with one another to make a difference. May we give ourselves away so that you can have glory, so that we can make a difference and live lives that matter for eternity. I pray this in your name. Amen.
Let us stand up for our last song.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
'Twas grace.
'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. The Lord has promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow. The sun forbear to shine, but God who called me here below will be forever mine. Will be forever mine. You are forever mine.
Have a great Sabbath, everybody.
One last quick thing for you. We're going to take our annual, there's a lot of people at home, so is what it is. We're going to take an annual photo. We try and do this every year. We didn't last year for obvious reasons, but we'll stay masked during it. So we would love to take a photo of you if you're willing to hang out, hang around up here, Andy, on stage. Is that easiest? Outside on the deck. Yeah, let's do that. So you can come through if you can go all the way around, or there's actually a back door over here if you want, or you can go that way. But we'll try and take a picture outside, out on the deck. That'd be awesome. So, yeah. And thank you very much to our praise team today. Yeah. All right. Thank you. We'll see you outside.